Hello YouTube, MadarasLives here, and I'm going to do my assumptions and predictions of Naruto manga 625, as well as just talk a lot of shit about, what I've been thinking over. More the shit than the actual prediction, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, I just want to start off with a few things I noticed through rereading the last chapters, and that is, do you guys remember with Madara and Hashirama as children, kind of nearing the start? I think it was the second episode, or the second chapter of the whole Madara kid Hashirama thing. Madara goes on about his eyes. He's like, my eyes are good, I could see from all the way over there. And then, he cuts himself off as if he's not supposed to reveal he has the Sharingan. But then, later on, when he says, I am Uchiha Madara, you are Senju Hashirama, he unlocks the One Tomo Sharingan. But is that a plot hole, or did his parent or his father just never realize he had it to begin with? Because, what am I trying to say here? Madara just said, indirectly to Hashirama on accident, that he had the Sharingan, and yet it just showed up there. Is that a plot hole? I'm pretty confused on that. And then another thing that I noticed, which isn't a plot hole, but I just found interesting, is while reading through the latest manga, I saw that in Izuna's death area, the panels of that, the move that killed him was translated to Flying Thunder God Strike or Slash, which had me thinking that what's it called? Good old friend Tobidama was the inventor of the Flying Thunder God, and that didn't seem right to me, to be honest, because we knew that he was a space-time user. It was said earlier by I can't remember who, but I remember hearing it. It made sense, and then now we find out that it wasn't really the Flying Thunder God was created by Tobidama and not Minato, which, I don't know, I don't feel great about that. I wish it was a different technique he used, or something along those lines, or I wish they actually went into this, how it happened, what happened, where he learnt it, how he learnt it. Yeah, anyway. And talking about the next chapter coming up, I think this is where we're going to hit a pretty big, point where it starts to get wrapped up. Because as we know, or at least we believe to know, Hashirama doesn't die now. He still has to have Tsunade be born. He still hasn't met Mito. Yes, Mito? Yes, Mito. Still hasn't met her. Still hasn't had a child with her. The Ninetales still hasn't come into this. There's still many things that need to happen. Maybe, and that got me thinking, maybe Madara agrees to let him kill himself once he's got his affairs in order. And then that's what sparked Tobirama to create the Edo Tensei. His plan was to Edo Tensei him after his death, so everyone would be square, but Hashirama wouldn't have to actually die. Or maybe Hashirama does die and gets Edo Tensei'd, but that wouldn't make sense because we see him not as Edo Tensei. It would be Rini Tensei that would bring him back like how he is. So that's just not a possibility. We know that neither of them die because Tobirama dies to Ginkaku and Rinkaku? Anyway, who cares? And Hashirama, it hasn't actually said how he dies, but we know he lives to do stuff in the future. But then it's also stated that Madara agrees to the peace. We can't actually know this for certain, it's more of an assumption because Toby says it to Sasuke, but still, we're under that impression, so some agreement has to come in, I believe, for this to work out and for the clans to unite. Giving it some thought, I just remembered that Tobirama didn't actually die to Ginkaku and the other one, who gives a shit. He died to an elite group still from that Cloud, the Cloud Village. But regardless, I just wanted to point this out. How come Tobirama hasn't used any water jutsu right now? I mean, that was his big thing, his big pull, and we haven't seen a single bit of it from him yet. And I think there's a big emphasis on Edo Tensei right now. We know the second Hokage creates the Edo Tensei. We don't know the reason behind it, but I feel like this reason is going to tie in so hard to the chapters to come, or at least the chapter to come, because people don't create jutsus like that. Good people do not create jutsus that have horrible negative effects and are kind of, they're just disregarding, honor and the sanctity of death and all that, unless they have some major reason. And I think that may tie into Hashirama's decision with Madara. Or maybe Tobirama offers the idea of Edo Tensei to revive Izuna, and that's what, that's the ultimatum, the other option, that Tobirama will revive Izuna for Madara. But regardless, who knows? And I really am bothered by the fact we have not seen how Madara or Izuna got their Mangekyou Sharingans. Not the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, just the regular Mangekyou Sharingan. It just seems so weird to me. I mean, I know there's the idea that Madara got his seeing Izuna die, and Izuna got his on his death, feeling like he let his brother down, and then that ultimately skipped Madara straight to EMS, but, it seems off to me. I mean, obviously I feel like the chapters need to be slowing down a lot right now. They really need to slow down on what they're talking about and what they're doing. But that's just my personal feeling, I'm not saying that Kishi is a bad writer. I mean, by no means. I mean, we can criticize him on a lot of stuff that he does. But ultimately, I think everyone has to agree that he is quite smart. No, not quite smart, very smart to be able to come up with a story that he does. And for all the people that do criticize his work, just think about it. Are you capable of writing a story like this that's gone for this long and has, he's obviously smart. It's just, I don't think he's giving it the right amount of time for this. I mean, I like the direction he's headed in with this particular these chapters. They're more ethical than they are with other chapters. I think it's a nice twist, although I wouldn't want to see it all the time. So, that's positive for me. But Kishi, I just think you need to slow your shit down. Really just draw out what we want to know. Explain it more. I feel like Obito, what you did with Obito would have been a lot better if you have done this as well. I mean, maybe he didn't have an idea of what he wanted to do. He was kind of spontaneously writing it a little bit. He just knew, I want Rin to die, I want Kakashi to kill Rin, I'll just throw in some random crap until then. And maybe he's doing the same now, but I really wish he would elaborate a bit more. That would be my only criticism to him right now. Just elaborate a bit more, draw on your chapters, draw it out a bit. I mean, even if it doesn't come off great, you've still increased the longevity of your series, which is good, right? And maybe that's it, and that's the reason why he doesn't want Naruto to go for that long. He's tired of writing it, because writing manga can be especially tiresome, both physically and mentally. There's so much effort put into it, and it's just constant. He's done it for 10 years now, so I could understand that. But ultimately, I just wish he would draw on that some more. Just a little bit more. And guys, I don't think Madara has thrown away his feelings about peace or any of this, because when you think about it, it's really hard to throw those feelings away. And I think, he may not like the Senju, he may be bitter, and love inside him of his brothers is just turning to hatred and getting all sour in him because of their deaths. But ultimately, your ideals do make up a huge fibre of who you are. And Madara, right now as it stands, and possibly even to this current day in the Naruto universe, has pretty righteous and strong ideals, in my opinion. So, I'm just thinking, maybe to him, this isn't this isn't his true feelings. He just feels obligated to do this, or just wants to hate. And I think both Tobirama and Izuna are kind of enablers in this. like Hashirama and Madara may have like, hesitance towards each other or their clans, more leaning towards Madara. He's got that Uchiha curse, but like they don't truly hate each other in my beliefs. Well, obviously we know Hashirama does not hate Madara. He the exact opposite. I mean, he's pretty much gay for the dude. But going into it, I think Izuna and Tobirama are sort of playing like the devil's whisper in this. Izuna's just talking to Madara like, I hate him. I hate the Uchihas. I hate them. He's just feeding him this hatred. Whereas Tobirama, not the same, because obviously that wouldn't work on Hashirama. He's quite a strong, stubborn person. But, same idea. He's still got this negative hatred, and I think there's a huge rivalry between Izuna and Tobirama. And, I think, although I really don't like Tobirama, I have to, put some blame on Izuna here too. I don't think that Izuna is, not to blame in this. They're both equally to blame. And despite the second Hokage being quite a dick, he did grow to install some really good fundamentals to the village. And I think whilst he never did stop hating the Uchihas, he really tried, at least later on, to not let that hatred get in the way. Because from what we know, he didn't flat out banish them. He just kept them under his watch. He wanted to give them something to do. There was never this, execution thing or just any true hatred towards them. I think he kind of realized the error of his ways, but couldn't really shed that part of himself. So he always hated them, but kind of just let it kind of die, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say for this prediction. I didn't say much, but, I think the next is going to be, explain the Edo Tensei reason, and it may end with the climax. Maybe it'll end with the start of, the hearty fight, and then the chapter after that will just be one huge fight. And before I go, remembering that Hashirama, is telling the story to Sasuke, what do you think Sasuke is going to get out of the story? I mean, really, do you think he's going to get, what ideas do you think he's going to get? Is he going to feel anything towards Naruto or the village, or the understanding of the Uchiha blood that runs in him? I'm actually very curious as to what Sasuke gets out of this. And, what else? Just speaking on Minato, the fact that, maybe Tobirama designed Flying Thunder God just to a very basic level, and it was perfected by Minato. What did Minato use prior to this? I mean, Minato was apparently a hugely skilled shinobi, and so what did he do? What was his other techniques? There has to be other techniques he used. Was he a lightning user? Is that an assumption? What did he do before the Rasengan? It took him 3 years to develop the Rasengan. I wish we got into more about what makes Minato so freaking awesome. And maybe he's a sage. Maybe he learnt sage mode. That would be quite expected and good. I think that would be a positive. I mean, can you just imagine? Although the problem is, why didn't he use it against Obito? Well, I guess you could assume that maybe he cannot use it freely like Naruto. Maybe he's worse than Jiraiya, who hadn't even perfected it. That could be believable. But, still, that's all I have to say, I think. And, I'll see you guys when the next chapter comes out. And, peace. I just want to say that I'm spending in the next 2 hours eating Chinese food and watching Bleach. That is the perfect life right there. That is so nice. But I was thinking maybe I should do some Bleach reviews as the mangas come out. I haven't decided yet, but you guys may be able to look forward to that in the future. Bye! Quick possibility, I know I said I'd go, but what if Hashirama has the ability that Tsunade possesses in making himself look younger, and that explains why he's so young when he actually isn't? Or maybe we know that he could perform healing without forming hand seals. Maybe he is physically out of control of that, and he was literally unable to kill himself. he physically could not kill himself because he just regenerated. That would be cool. And one last thing. Can we please get Minato's last name? Please, 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 please. I really want him to be a Senju or a Sarutobi. Senju or Sarutobi would be great. That is what I'm hoping for.